Welcome back to Counterpoints Friday. We've got an incredible amount of midterm drama to talk about. We've got a call in the Arizona Senate race. We've got a likely call in the Nevada Senate race. And we have the possibility that one of the parties is going to end up with 217 seats in the House of Representatives, meaning whoever is the speaker, whether it's McCarthy or Pelosi or whoever Dems put in there, would have a one-vote margin. And I was just telling Emily, nobody in this world deserves to have a one-vote margin more than Kevin McCarthy. He has wanted this job his entire life, and when he finally gets it, it will just fall to pieces in his hands.
We'll break all of that down in the midterm block because there's so much to talk about in terms of the dynamics, in terms of what's ongoing. And speaking of the dynamics.
Yeah, and also we'll get to Ukraine in a moment, Russia in retreat around Kherson. But back here in the United States, 2024 kicking off, Donald Trump not waiting for the House results, not waiting for the Senate results. I can't even keep up with his attacks on Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis.
He hit him on Air Force One last night after his rally in Dayton, and then he hit him all over Truth Social. Appeared to be confessing to crimes that he himself committed, but the fact that we don't necessarily believe him, he might be lying about his own criminal behavior, it means that he's not necessarily guilty, innocent until proven guilty.
Which is really bold, by the way.
And I'm talking about his claim that he stopped the count for Ron DeSantis. But tell us what is the indictment that Trump is laying out against Mr. DeSanctimonious here?
Well, it's kind of a sort of smattering. If we put A1 up on the screen, this is the New York Times write-up of everything that's been going on. Trump threatens to reveal unflattering information about DeSantis if he runs. Now, Trump reportedly said, I know more about him than anybody other than perhaps his wife. That's a Maggie Haberman byline, so she's got the goods, apparently, from inside Trump world. And this is there have been some posts you can see in A2, some of the barbs, I was going to say that have been gone back and forth, but it's only gone in one direction.
That's right, just the fourth.
Nobody's trading barbs. Okay, so Donald Trump is saying that News Corp is basically undermining him in favor of DeSantis. Ron came to me in desperate shape in 2017. He was politically dead, losing in a landslide. And he keeps going. I mean, this is a pretty long thread. It just on and on. I was all in for Ron, and he beat Gillum. But after the race, when votes were being counted, that's what Ryan said.
Yeah, he says when votes were being counted, basically I sent a prosecutor and the FBI down to Broward County. He says Ron DeSantis was losing 10,000 votes a day as they were counting more votes.
Yeah.
I went down there and I stopped the count.
Yeah.
He just stops it right there.
He is likely again, I'm no Trump whisperer. My best guess, as somebody who is on the right, is that he's referring to what a lot of people think happens in deep blue counties. Is that
that they're just finding fake votes and
they're going through ballots like absentee ballots that don't count and curing them or fixing them, et cetera, and that's where they find different margins. That's the idea. Right, that's what I'm assuming. So I'm assuming he's saying he stopped the...
He's saying he stopped the process. I find it hard to believe that he did that without it becoming public. But if he did that, that needs to be investigated.
I think it should absolutely, yeah.
And the FBI apparently can just ask itself. Because he's saying he told the FBI to go do it.
It seems like there's a pretty easy answer there.
I mean, it is true that I can't stop calling him DeSanctimonious.
You love it. You love it.
It's such a funny name. It is true that DeSantis was losing to Andrew Gillum.
Yes.
And that Trump's endorsement played a key role, as well as the FBI's role in tying Tallahassee and Gillum up in this investigation around Hamilton tickets.
Oh, that's
which is
right.
the best way for a Democrat to go down. It's over. Of course, it's over Hamilton tickets.
Yeah, you couldn't script that better.
No, you couldn't.
So this feud between Trump and DeSantis, again, this is something that's been simmering because DeSantis is seen, as many people on the right, by the person who's Trump without Trump. You hear that over and over again. DeSantis has all of the goods of Donald Trump with none of the baggage of Donald Trump. I think that's mistaken, and that's not a particularly smart analysis. But that's sort of a congealing conventional wisdom on the right, and it really irks Donald Trump. He's seen the coverage on Fox News. A lot of people are very favorable to DeSantis there, and frankly not very favorable to Trump there. If you really have been watching Fox closely lately, there's a lot of pro-DeSantis and a lot of pro-DeSantis talk, and there's this idea that I think exists in the minds actually of a lot of voters. We see this in the midterm results, that there's just deep exhaustion with Donald Trump, even among people who may have voted for him, even on the right. But what that doesn't take into account is that there's some 30% of his base. 30% of the Republican Party is hardcore MAGA. These are people who vote for Donald Trump, who may not have even been voting Republican before, but they're the people who are showing up at rallies. They're the people who are activated. They're the people who are animated. Like that is something that political parties, that's a huge built-in advantage for political parties. And DeSantis is very popular. I'm pretty favorable to DeSantis. There is this congealing conventional wisdom. And what's, I think, really dangerous about that, if you're a DeSantis person, is that you're going to continue to inflame Donald Trump. And if you have this, if it smacks of this conspiratorial orchestration from political professionals, whether they're in Florida or DC, voters hate that. They hate that. And it happened all throughout 2015. Everyone in DC thought they had the way to stop Donald Trump. How many times did we hear that? Yeah. This is what's going to do him in. We're going to take him down at the convention. We're going to, this thing that he said, he's done. No, because there's that chunk of the party that loves the guy. And he's not a politician, frankly, and that means he sort of has fighting advantages. He can take everybody out because he doesn't play by the rules.
How does an indictment play into the politics here? Let's say he gets indicted. Does that rally Republicans around him, and is that bad for DeSantis? Is DeSantis hoping that they back off him and Trump just continues to flail? And how does DeSantis weather this for a year? Like we're more than that. We're like 14 months away from. Are you guys doing Iowa still?
I don't know, actually.
So Iowa, New Hampshire, wherever this ends up starting, that's 14 months of him just savaging him.
Well, in DeSantis so far, and this is again, you see this among sort of the DeSantis, and I don't say this as a pejorative, the DeSantis Fan Club, because it definitely exists. They're saying all DeSantis has to do is stay quiet. And I think actually that's absolutely true, because Donald Trump just sort of talks into the ether, right? The people who are following Donald Trump on Truth Social are the people who are following Donald Trump. They're the people who go to the rallies. They're the people who are, that are never going to leave from the side of Donald Trump. And I don't know that an indictment changes that. Sincerely, I don't know if an indictment changes that. We've heard it over and over again. I said it before. This week, the Wednesday, felt like January 7th. On the right, in the sense that there was finally, it felt like once again, here we go, he's done, we can kick him out, we can orchestrate our purge, this is it. Or it's just sort of this idea that you can quietly say Donald Trump did what he needed to do for the party, and now we can move on to Ron DeSantis.
Is there anything he wants that the Republican Party can offer him?
Other than the presidency?
Right. I
don't know. I mean, can you think of anything? I think he wants to be president. I think he wants to be vindicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
I was going to think Ron DeSantis promises to pardon him and all his children and everybody. Like, he can have 4-year blanket pardon power. Anybody that Trump wants to pardon, he just sends a note to DeSantis.
That could get interesting.
That's right.
That could get interesting.
Pardon Steve Bannon like 4 times.
Pardon Lee Harvey Oswald because it was actually Ted Cruz's dad.
Yeah, he has to release the JFK, which is the most shameful thing that Trump did, is not release that. What a loser.
Well, also didn't
Roger
release...
Stone, you had one job, Roger Stone.
Roger Stone, yeah.
Couldn't get your man to release the JFK papers.
So, this is a real... this has serious implications for the way things are sort of panning out in the right. To your point about how DeSantis weathers it, I think you can probably still just expect him to stay quiet and be polite when he's asked about Donald Trump, which again reinforces exactly what everybody likes about Ron DeSantis.
What we need is a big bowl of popcorn for the next year.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And again, like Donald Trump is set to announce his presidential run, next week? Mm-hmm. A lot of people want him to put that on pause as well. I think that's also very, very unlikely. Who said let Trump be Trump?
A bunch of those folks have said that.
Again,
Yeah.
it's the conventional wisdom
Yeah.
in Trump circles. And so I'm going to spoil it for everyone. They're going to let Trump be Trump.
There you go.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.